diary. Are we driving?
Alright, welcome to Levels here in Tomororw. It's my walk and talk vloggy thing because I get nervous when I try to do vloggy stuff in front of the rest of the field. It's Saturday, Valentine's Day. Sorry, Jackie. But we've just come in from our first race. I started on PA. I think I finished thereabouts. Maybe I gained a couple places. I'll cut to the vision. Pretty hectic old weekend so far. Quali, super wet. Started spitting as we assembled in the dummy grid and only got heavier. So if you wanted to see anything resembling a time, it had to be kind of in the first couple of laps. Otherwise, you were just kind of out there for fun. And so just kind of did skids and entertain myself until it was time to come in. Another slight stitch up on the session was I didn't find out my wipers weren't working until it was time to go out. Thankfully, that little windshield strip at the top was brand new, and by a stroke of luck, I cleaned the windshield with some product that had Rain-X through it. So felt pretty hectic right up until I got up to speed, and thankfully the Rain-X did what it said on the tin and helped get the worst of it off the windshield. It's a shame about this lap. I tried to set a really good time, but I kind of fell off in that left-hander, and I think it took the wind out of my sails and was a little bit tentative through the rest of the lap, so I was only really good enough to put in a P8 for quali, and we had a little bit of work to do. But that was a rowdy session. It got properly diabolical after this. I think this was my third lap out, and it just got slower from here, so bad luck. That's rugby league. So after crossing the line on a very soggy session, it was time to reset, but weirdly enough the sun would come out. You wouldn't think anything had happened on a beautiful day like that. Just enough time to download my data. Some boys were kicking around a rugby ball, and that was us for race 1 to get on the grid. So parked in PA next to Mike Harcourt. I've always been really lucky throughout the weekend just having these dynamite starts. Drag race down turn 1 and try not to trip over each other as we go through the chicane. You can see Robbie Jonker having a mean whole time of it on that high curb on the exit, and that is us safe enough through turn 3. Just up ahead you can see Jamie in the 906, Robbie getting through addition, and we have a little bit of a cheeky sender through the hairpin, but we aren't quite able to make it stick. And just as I fall out of the toe, you can see I can start to struggle on this back straight. I'm trying to will myself forward as my tired little motor tries to carry me around. Back on the brakes, I'm able to get a car length or 2 back. You can see the boys trying to work it out, getting pretty squirrely up the road as young Robbie. And the braking zone for this left-hander is, well, for me it's a little bit tough because it feels like it's hard to get the car properly straight enough to get on the brakes. It's not too heavy a braking zone, but annoyingly hard to get perfect. And wiggling up into the hairpin, you can see Jamie having a little bit of a tough time on exit, and I think he would miss third gear coming out of it, which
gives me a nice little look in. And running down into turn one, it's a very audacious move as I watch it back. And just up the road you can see column tolls coming through up a bit of a hectic rejoin we get out of it. Bit of a sketchy moment going through turn three. And look who is running T66 turbos with spoon engines. Jamie gets by us. I contemplate a little send up the inside again, but think better of it. It always seems a lot more sketchy when you watch the footage back. But as we go through the hairpin to lead on to what I think is the third or fourth lap, we won't be trying that look up the inside one more time because because in the car I had a feeling that Jamie was wise to it. So instead we just kind of hold position, and I think we crossed the line at P6 by the end of it. In between races we had just enough time to admire some of the classics going around that weekend. It was time to line up for race two. Another decent start. You can see me getting through the gears and the run into turn one. And I think we managed to clear Jamie, and you can see Callum having a look in through turn one. But I managed to hold my line on the inside and we get by. And who's that? But it's Robbie Jonker having a look, showing a little bit of nose in the run into turn three. And he'll do a good job of threatening me as we enter that back straight for the first time of asking. Bit of a drag race. Doing my best to run away. You can see everybody jockeying for position, and behind I kind of choose to be a pain in the neck and stick my car in the middle of the road, forcing Callum to go the long way around. So I line myself up for turn, what are we calling that for? And you can see a bit of a battle pack starting to form ahead of me, with Mike Harcourt in front, the next in line. So that'll be Mike in P4 with Matt up ahead, Avon, and then Dom Franzen as our race leader. A little bit of a baby lock through the hairpin. But I'm pretty much a spectator as I kind of fight to keep touch with Mr. Harcourt up in front. Through the chicane, I'm able to make a little bit of ground on Mike. You can see him battling as he exits turn two using all of that curb. And I think I get a pretty decent run out of turn four, and I'm able to hitch onto the toe, which is so important down that back straight. Here I can feel I'm starting to reel it in, so I have a look at the inside, see if I can make something stick. And now it's a bravery test. Who's going to brake first? I actually think Mike managed to hold on a little bit longer, but had the inside line, so I was able to sneak myself through and Avon's still managing his engine curse, where he's just down on power compared to the rest of us. For these races, I kind of have the best seat in the house, watching these guys scrap it out as I do my best to keep touch with them. And I think this will be the only chance I get to do it, because I don't really have the pace to keep up with these boys. They're a bit more talented than I am. But you can see as I storm out of turn three, I'm doing my best to latch onto the back of Avon and see if I can't give him a push up the straight. Not a lot of subtlety in that bump draft, but I give him a fair whack and he get about 10 kph out of that touch, and just enough to keep his fight going with Matt. But these boys have a lot more commitment than I do through these quick left-handers, and you can see they lose car legs on them each time I try to follow them around. And it kind of got to the point where I was overworking the tyres and they were starting to get pretty hot as I tried to match these guys' speed. Don't quite have the knack these guys do, so I fell off properly and even ran out of courage at one point. A little bit later on in the video you'll hear me swear as I'm fighting for my life to try to keep in touch with these boys. So a lot of lessons learned in this race, as I wouldn't get any further up the grid and would be more than happy to get away with a P4 in this race.
Year 2, season 2.
Experience now, we're experts.
2 idiots trying to race around the track. How does it feel to be back with number 43?
I love this beast. It's great, it's doing me great things. I think I need to steal 906's engine and then we'll be off. Oh, and Avon's suspension, and then that's the ultimate car.
Yeah, Maestro shocks, 906's moat. That's God's 5. I haven't chatted to you about like the whole weekend. How's your weekend been?
It's sick. I love getting back in the MX-5. I've been weirdly calm. Like last season, I always got nervous getting in the car, and this season, Dad's just mad nervous because we've got him in the car. So I'm just like, yeah, no, we'll go send some MX-5s. It's all good.
How are the vibes with Dad?
He's loving it. He was better in that race. He was a bit sad after the first one being at the back, and then that time he got in a fight. So we're good. We're back in the good vibes.
I owe you an apology for betrayal because I did try to push him past you, but I didn't have enough talent to do it more than once. But I'm starting off P4 in the next grid, so I'm hoping I can hang on for a little bit more. So early on,
yeah, so is the next race the same off race results?
Yeah, I think the next race is race results tomorrow. I think the first race is marble draw, and then one's based off fastest lap or fastest times over the weekend.
Yeah, so us not having any idea how the series works in terms of race starts would be a theme. But nevertheless, we just turned up and they summoned us to the assembly area. And we were off for race 3 into turn 1. Matt had pole position, Jamie on the outside, and they trip over each other into turn 1. And you can see Jamie spear off into the distance. Avon having a look inside. I gave him a bit of a squeeze with the benefit of hindsight, probably a little bit cheeky. But that'll be fine. I'm sure he'll get us back before too long. Running up the front straight. We weren't sure what the extent of the damage is to Matt at this point. I came steaming into him for another bump draft up the straight and into the braking zone. I thought he'd just locked up the fronts, which to be fair was uncharacteristic, but the way he was carrying speed through that left-hander, I didn't think too much of it. It wouldn't be until the hairpin coming up that it was pretty obvious that Matt had a problem. Meanwhile, look at this guy sending it up in the inside. What a move. I was thinking about how to let him back through so I could do my little bump drafty trick, but Avon, the skilled man that he is, manages to sort it out for us. And here through the hairpin, you can see what I was referring to earlier, Matt just fallen off the pace. That Balenciaga TE37 not having the greatest time in the contact, and Matt carrying a flat tyre for the rest of the race. How he didn't get meatballs, don't worry about it. Matt stayed committed and would finish the race, getting a very important 30 points to his championship total, which turns out would become super necessary by the end of it. Meanwhile, here we are back to our old tricks and running in towards Avon. You can see we're having a grand old time with it. Both of us having a bit of fun. One more nudge for good luck. Actually baby lifted before touching him this time around and didn't quite give him as much speed as I wanted to, so just a little bit extra for insurance, maybe sent him a touch wide. But then it was much like race 2 where I didn't quite have the ability to help him out anymore through that race. I was just kind of watching the show as we both tried to chase down a very strong Don Franzen. He was rabbiting away for the rest of the series. But this would be the shape of the race until we finished up. So now I think we'll just cut away and show you the damage to that. Now out of production TE37, ouch. Many arguments in the paddock about whether or not it was fixable. Haven't quite resolved that story, but I'm sure I'll let you know what we decide to do.
Hey, nice car. Hey, nice car. What's the retail on one of those?
And with that, we were getting ready to start race 4. This was actually the first race of the Sunday. True to form, it's a drag race against Robbie Jolker into the run to turn 1. Jamie, not having the best starts throughout the whole weekend, did me a favour and balked as Robbie giving me the corner. So this race was a marble draw, and I had drawn P7 with Nigel, Maddie's dad, in the 86 up ahead of us. Doesn't get the greatest exit out of turn 3, lets me slide on by. And I believe I just received a bit of a bump from Jamie in the 906 to push us past Richard Bosselman, who was adamant, vehement that none of us touch him, as he had drawn pole position or near enough. making his way through the field. At this point in the race was Dom Franson. He drew like P13 in the marble draw, was pretty balked by the lottery system, and he's just charging his way through. Don't even bother to fight him. I'd rather use him if possible to balk the others and open the door to let me through. You see Jamie trying to hang around the outside. That's pretty rowdy. But we hang on for now and see if I can't stay uncompromised long enough to battle my way through. I was a little bit gutted to not be closer to Dom as he makes his way past Callum Toll. It would have been nice to follow Dom through on his line and use that old karting trick, but proper drive out of that corner was in short supply throughout the weekend. My hope was if I could keep in touch, I could maybe make something work. You can see they get really in trouble coming out of turn 2, but I'm not able to get a good enough exit to capitalize out of turn 3, so a little bit frustrated, but learning a lot as we go along. Pretty mean battles, to be fair, from all three of us. You can see Mike is the first to let go out of the three of us, just getting a snap going before the hairpin and setting himself off into the grass. Manages to pull up before the wall, so that's all good. And then it's Callum and I back to battling. You can see our mate Matt has found his way into the race. He also drew behind us and has been working his way up ever since. Had a nice little move around the outside to make that stick into turn 1. Got a little bit balked on exit, was hoping to get a bit of drive out of there, and you can see another stumble from Callum and a little bit of a check up to slow me coming out of turn 3. Poor Maddie's asking for the bump draft. I'm just not able to get enough speed to catch up and kind of deliver, and you can see the Starship Enterprise in Jamie's car just walking his way past us. I wonder if I could have been a bit braver there and stuck closer to Matt and kept the run going, but it just seemed to be a little bit of tentative getting onto the power, but that's no problem. And I think here I was just kind of trying to figure out what I wanted to do watching them run here. You can see Jamie quite early on the brakes lets me back in, and then very loose on exit, so already I'm starting to think about how I'm going to try and put something on. Lap with full commitment out of the first sector. You can see him getting very loose out of turn 3. I think I chickened out a little bit, not able to get past. And that'll be all she wrote for this race. I'll have to be happy with finishing in this position. I think it'll be P6 at the end of the day. Big off from Jamie. All Max pushing on pretty hot and tired tyres at this point in the race. And thankfully we'd have a lunch break in a couple of hours to do some thinking and figure out how we were going to get through the last race of the day. Everyone was all the way up to the line. You can see Callum and Matt in a drag race to the finish. And Dom not far up the road. It's a P6 for me. We chill out, watch Mick Toll racing in the classics. He was dual classing throughout this meeting. And we win again for race 6. Once again, very happy with our starts. Trying to chase down Matty on the run into turn 1. No one dies on this first lap, so gotta be happy with that, the way we've been going. And safely through to start our run onto the back straight. This time around, we're quick enough to give Matt a little bit of a bump. So we're making up for last race already, gotta be happy with that. And a big centers on Callum Toll. And again, I'm just not brave enough to latch myself on to Matty's bumper, follow him through. And I even done a rare mistake. Went wide on turn 4 on the first lap. But we're restarting an old battle, Colin and I going to war again. We actually had a little bit of a nice... We actually had a really nice rivalry through this, but you can see, have a look up the inside. Baby lock on the brakes. Do well not to clatter into the side of him. At this point of the weekend, I think the temperature in the track had dropped out a lot, so maybe some of the grip that we were expecting wasn't quite there, but I was very surprised to lock the front. So you can see someone in my mirror on the left-hand side lurking, having a look. I think they're going to have a go on the inside. It's Jamie in the 906. See what he does. Battling our way through, get on the power. Actually, we're in wide. We'd have to give up the position, let him through. Try to recover. You can see Avon following his way through. And that is where we would settle for the next sort of half a lap. See Avon muscle his way through in the hairpin. Nice and racy from that man. It'll be a little bit longer before I can figure out how I can get my way through. So here we are coming out of turn 2. It's actually just deleted that front straight. Callum and Jamie going side by side through turn 3. And rabbiting away from me. Did such a good launch out of that corner. And this straight is so long that it kind of just forces you to sit there and feel shame as you watch the cars get smaller ahead of you. Pretty grateful to claw some of that distance back. Through turn 4, Jamie has an off ahead, I think. And you can see Avon running for his life just a little bit further up the road. Running down the hairpin, I seem to be able to carry just a little bit more speed. Got a good drive out of here, and I'm watching Callum see if I can't make another foolish move. And as I latch into the toe, pull myself out, jump on the brakes. Grateful that Callum saw me coming and handed up, didn't want to fight that one too hard. We'd had a chat and talked a big game about him bumping me up the road, because I think he can only make this round and maybe Ruapuna. But by the time we got to the end of the race, Avon, another uncharacteristic mistake, gives me position as he falls off at Mike Harcourt's position. And I make an absolute mess out of the hairpin. Short shift up to third because I'm a little bit nervous, and you can see in behind Callum Toll makes another appearance, and it's a drag race to the line. Photo finish even, second one for Callum. And I think it would turn out that as we crossed the line, I had about 0.02 of a second ahead of him. and I was so unsure. Had a chat to him afterwards, and I was convinced that he had beaten me. So he got away with one, got some decent points in the bag, and I think by the end of this race, I'm sitting P4 in the championship. A few shots of us rushing to pack up.
I'm grabbing shots of the person in the hard work while the driver's Skype.
No, you've exposed me!
But it was a quick pack down, get the cars up on the trailer, and now we're off to Teretonga for round 2. If you made it this far in the video, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you as soon as I make the next video.